observed in the house. A special greeting goes to our customers that are in the house. Yes, clap hands for our customers. Not just customers, valuable customers, esteemed stakeholders of the city. Yes, I'm so proud of you because most of the people that are seated here, I get to deal with them on a daily basis, and it is so fascinating to know that they do appreciate the work that the city is doing in terms of remitting the taxes on time to the council. Clap hands for yourselves, guys. Mine is not going to be too long. I am going to be zeroing down to intricate issues relating to taxation in the city, which we normally call a rating. Oh God, there it goes. So basically, we're going to look briefly at what are rates. Kahle kahle. Rates are a tax on a property found in the urban space, whether that property is developed or not. So rates are a tax just like all the other applicable tax types in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We all know, not long ago, we used to have graded tax, angithi. So the government has actually assisted us not to pay that 18 bucks that we used to pay somewhere around June every year. So he has actually taken that off. And then I own a bicycle. In yesteryears, we used to pay tax for bicycles, and we no longer do. So coming into this gathering, you grab a can of Coke at Pick and Pay, and already you've paid tax in terms of VAT. So tax is something that is inculcated in the fabric of our operations and in our daily living. It's just that now we are actually paying tax to the government. So we've got too many tax types, withholding tax. Our businesses are paying income tax to the government. Employers, including the one that's actually was on the podium, Umage Fagutse. The employers are obligated by law to deduct from us as employees what we normally call pay as you earn. It's another tax type that we are paying to our government. Likewise, a tax, a property, immovable property that is found in the jurisdiction of the local authority is obligated by the Rating Act to pay rates, and rates are a tax on that property. All right. So through this tax, the local authority generates revenue in order to provide services. So the provision of services, people will, more often than not, will ask you, services that provide masipala. And while we were going around doing the civic education and also the assignment that the minister has sent us, they will ask you, why are you divorcing the tax from services? And yet, the two are distinctively different. So if you go to Section 55 of the Rating Act, that is where the act, Section 55 of the Urban Government Act of 1969, that's where we get a list of the services that the municipality is supposed to actually provide to its residents. And this actually includes, but is not limited to, the maintenance of road infrastructure, street lighting, garbage collection, abating of public nuisances, also the provision of inspectorate services, and those could be building, health, and environmental. The list is so long, it's not exhaustive. But then, this is what your rates should be doing within the local municipalities. So, we have got rates, and also we've got service fees. I will explain the notion of service fees. Service fees will mean if the municipality owns a hall, say in Msunduza, and you want to have a function or an event, ufuna kuyoba nemshado or a party or anything, the municipality can lease out the facility to you maybe at 1,000 rand, and that is a service fee. So it is distinctively different from rates. So you pay, the Act in its current form actually mandates you to pay the rates to the local authority regardless of whether you receive the service or not. And this is where it starts. It says, pay the rate and then you have a right and an opportunity to come and demand for service. And the manner in which we demand service from the local authority is through the councillors that we have elected in our communities who will come and represent us within council. And they not only represent us in our personal capacity, but they represent our needs as well to the council. That's how we actually come and demand service from the council. So if I were to put, or rather explain further the notion of tax in terms of the rates, I would liken it to income tax. Not only to say, Minister, hulumende wethu akendi kahle, cha wenda kahle. But uma ngabe ngisebenza ngilambabani and ekhaya kusesindwendweni, I am obligated to pay income tax to national government and all other available tax types, regardless of the fact that nangekhaya ngifike le moto yami ngiyipake la, ngihlabhude emandini ngidelibloho, ngiyolala lapha ekhaya, ngibuye ngiyithathe khona. So I come to the national government to demand a service of a footbridge or a bridge through the MP that I've elected. That is how the system actually works. So you don't withhold your rates because there are service deficiencies or service shortages that exist in your locality, but you pay so that the municipality may be able to prioritize the services and provide the service to you in due course. So the basis of setting rates is what Mr. Malichi was talking about, is the valuation role. Rates are a percentage of the value of both the land and improvements as shown in the valuation role. So the local authority, in accordance with Section 10 of the Rating Act, now says the municipality once in 5 years, less or longer the period as the minister may approve, is supposed to perform a valuation of every portion of land that is found in its jurisdiction. And the valuation of every piece of land, like we have done like 4 years ago, I think 2021, Mbabane was doing that. The valuation of every piece of land is called in the Act, is referred to as the general valuation role. So the council is supposed to do this every 5 years. If the council, for whatever reason, decides to do it in a period less or even longer than the 5 years, the council needs to seek for authority to do so from the minister's office. So in between the general valuation roles, we normally have what we call supplementary valuation roles. So the general valuation role remains static for a period of 5 years. And the supplementary valuation roles are done in between the general valuation rules to capture for the changes that exist on property, on properties. So these changes that normally exist is that today you have a vacant piece of land, tomorrow you have decided to develop your property. So that development needs to be captured into the role through a supplementary valuation. You have a 1 hectare piece of land today, and you decide to subdivide it into 4 pieces and you sell. Those changes that have actually occurred on the property need to be captured into the role through a supplementary valuation role, because the size of the property has changed. And so is the value of all the small pieces of properties that are actually coming from the initial property. And also, there is need from property owners to consolidate their properties. And these consolidations, when they happen while the valuation role, the general valuation role is in force, these changes are captured through the supplementary valuation role in terms of consolidations. And also our structures. Sometimes they have got a lifespan. Babi Malichi has actually talked about that normally a structure has got a lifespan of 60 years up to 100 years. There comes a time where there needs to be some demolition of structures within the city. And those demolitions, in terms of adjustment, they're not done by the local authority, but they are done by the valuation process. You don't just remove a structure from the evaluation role unless you perform a process of a supplementary evaluation role to remove same. So our rates are normally a percentage of the value. The Act, when you look at Section 11, the Rating Act, says the valuer, after assessing the property, is supposed to show the value of the land and also show the value of improvements. And improvement in this context of the Act refers to the buildings, nothing else by the buildings, not the aircons and the fixtures that actually you have added on your property, but it's just the building. So I think when we do normally evaluations for other purposes like insurance, for mortgage, loans and whatnot, the valuation comes in as one value that doesn't actually distinguish the value of the land component and the value of the building. But in this particular regard, the valuer must show the land value and also the improvement value. Now, coming to assessing the rate, there's something very interesting that Mage Fagutse and also Babe Malichi has said here in terms of market values. The fact that your property has appreciated in value doesn't mean that also your rates will increase. I'll take some time to actually address this. If your property in terms of valuation increases by, say, 200%, it doesn't mean that simultaneously the rate payable by you will increase by 200%. Even if the council will devalue your property to a rand, if the municipality needs rates for a 10,000, to the value of 10,000 from you, they will get it anyway because this is a multiplier. So fighting off the valuation with a notion and an understanding that it's going to increase my my land rates and improvement rates, it's a futile exercise. Because even if your rates, or rather your value may remain at 5,000, at 500,000 for a period of 20 years, if these are shared costs, if the municipality needs to increase your rates maybe by 2,000, it will continue to do so through the tariff. But there is a guiding principle on how the rates now are being set. So let's start from a general rate. A general rate, in accordance with the Act, says it's a general assessment of your rates on all different land uses in the city, regardless of the demand for services. So we can appreciate, honorable members and stakeholders, that in the city, we've got different and various land uses, which actually include residential properties, he has already mentioned them, commercial properties, industrial properties. Some properties have got special concerns, of which you've got certain rights of use. It's a residential property, but that has got some added rights of use on the property. Then some properties are leased residential properties. Those are the categories that we have in Baban. I will show them quickly. So the municipality may decide then, at first, to levy a general rate. The general rate says the municipality will determine the budget for the year. Say, let's make an example. If the budget for the municipality is R1 million, Maspala udzinga 1 million to run the programs. Angithi siyawenda ama-consultative exercises within the municipalities to get your needs and everything. They inform the budget of the council. And the council will know we need R1 million to run all operations this year, excluding all capital projects. The capital projects are excluded in this computation of a general rate. So from the R1 million, you know all the values combined, all the values of the properties in the city. So you divide the R1 million by all the values of the properties in the city to come to a general rate. That is the first step. And over and above that, the Act gives power to the municipality to enforce a differential rate. The differential rate now says we are going to levy a certain percentage or tariff on all the various or different uses in the city on the basis of the demand needed by that category. I'll make an example. If we were to look at the process of garbage collection, from a residential standpoint, my house, if the municipality was gonna collect garbage from my house, I would be fine with the truck coming once a week, because there are no activities that demand so much service to the council that the truck will come every day. But the same won't be applicable at the corporate place. Hello, are you with me? The same will not be applicable at the corporate place. I'm sorry. I just want to make this to be a relaxed session as possible for us to have an understanding. We expect the truck to be there almost every single day because of the nature of activities that are actually coming from that facility and establishment. So then the rating is going to follow the same process. It's never going to be the same as residential properties. It's never going to be the same as industrial properties. Special content processes, those are the land uses that are applicable in the city. So we change it according to that. So when council follows through the differential rating method, this is what we have in the city of Mbabane. We've got light industrial, just by virtue of being more precise. We've got the industrial site at Situashini, and also there is another industrial site by Carter's Mall going to that other side. We don't have heavy industrial in Mbabane. This is just light industrial, of which by virtue of demarcation, properties in this area are allowable, or they've got rights to perform industrial activities. And hence, their rate, I am going to show it in the next slide, it's going to follow through what is actually transpiring in terms of rights on the property. We've got properties that are residential, commercial properties, special consent. Special consent means you are allowed to do business in a residential area. You've got a home office or a certain business where the zoning is residential. And then if you get more rights to do business in that area, there is a tariff that is actually applicable to those property owners. And then leased private residential refers to flats. There has been an emergence, a huge emergence of properties in Mbabane being leased out to the general public. So the council decided to gazette and make a certain specific rate for leased private residential properties, which are, in simple terms, denoted as flats. Then the vacant pieces of land. The council normally charges a higher rating for vacant pieces of land. And the reason why, it's because the reason why they attract a higher rating, it's all in order to promote development in the city and discourage what Margaret talked about as land banking or land hoarding. Land hoarding in the city has got so many issues. Property owners are not prone to maintaining their vacant pieces of land in terms of cutting these grass and shrubs that actually come from the properties. And hence, you find that there's so much complaint coming from the neighbors. So in order to discourage land banking or hoarding, the council has made the rating for either a commercial vacant piece of land or a residential piece of land to be a bit higher than the rest. We will see it when we do our quick computation of that. So the basis for setting the rate under each category is the demand for service or resources placed by each category. This is a typical computation of rates across all the various categories. I've just used one valuation across all the land uses that we were talking about, so that you can see the outturn in terms of rates from each. We have said that when we rate, we show a percentage for the land, and we also a percentage for what? For the improvements. And these percentages, we call them tariffs in the language of the legislation. So commercial properties, they normally, if you have a valuation of 500,000, and then the building, 500,000 for the land, R1 million for the building. The rates that are going to come through, here is the tariff. This tariff is 1.345%. Yes. It's 0 because of the multiplier that I have put in. So if you divide it by the 100, you'll get 1.34%. So it means currently in 2025, the municipality will have rates of a commercial property that is valued at 500,000, assessed at 1.35%. So your rates are just 1.35% of 500,000. And at some point, we put a multiplier or a calculation on our website, so that if you put in there and you know the value of a property, you just put in the figures for the land and the improvements, and then the multiplier will calculate for itself the rate. It's a very simplistic approach. So this means if your commercial land is 500,000, the council will apply only 1.35% to get rates for 6,725. And then on the building, it is lower. It is 0.485, of which there is no much of substance in terms of value that comes from the building in relation to taxation. So the building will always attract a lower percentage when it comes to rating methodologies within the council. So this is 0.4850, and your rates will be 4,850, and the total of the two, oh God, the total of the two will be 11,575. And then for residential properties, let's assume you have got the same value of land and improvements. Now the tariff is lower. It's 1.125. So it's going to bring down your rates. They will never be the same as someone who is in commercial. This actually says the tariff now compensate for the fact that the demand for a service for that person who is in a residential place is now lower than the commercial one. That's why the rates, while using the same valuation, will come down to 5.6. And the same will happen with the building as well. That's 2,430, that's 8,000. Special consent, industrial, general industrial, same story. Lease private residential, same story. Then the vacant pieces of land. Let us make a comparison of residential. This is residential land at 500,000. Yields rates of 5,625. But then if it is vacant, your rates are going to be 8,215. And once you develop, it means your rates will be reduced to 5,625. I think we appreciate that. We have said we promote development, we discourage land hoarding or land banking. So once you develop your property, then this says your rates are going to go down to 5,625. And the same will apply for commercial properties. If it's commercial and it's vacant, it's 15,105. But if it's commercial and it's developed, it's 6,725. So we need to make our choices right. Let's choose to develop our properties. Let's not keep them for long. It actually helps in terms of the taxation. Then, more often than not in the city, we've heard people saying, Ema rates maya ayadula. Hey Jehovah, Ema rates ayadula, igakulawa embabane. I want us together in the room to agree, if Ema rates vela adula yini bekunene, from all the other things that eat from our disposable income. We've got monthly bills, right? We pay bills from all our households. But let us look and let us have a proper synopsis and an evaluation of what it is to pay the rates vis-a-vis the other charges that we have on a monthly basis in our households. Okay, together let's look at this. You've got a vehicle, let me say a Range Rover, Minister. Or the Bentley. Let me use the Bentley. But I'm going to lower it in value. The Bentley is 7 years old. And the value at purchase was somewhere around R1 million. Today, if you go to your insurer is not going to charge you less than 25,000 for the whole year to insure that vehicle comprehensively. So, your insurance, if you divide the 25,000 by 12 months, you're going to come up with, just do a quick math. It's a masterclass after all, right? 25,000 divided by 12. It's 3,000 rand. 2.5. Let's say it's 2.5 per month. It means from your disposable income, there is 2,500 that goes towards your insurance for a vehicle that is 7 years old, not even a brand new one. Pardon? And it's depreciating. At the time that you bought this vehicle of $1 million, you were paying insurance of 46,000, if not 47. And gladly so, you go and seed your income towards insuring your vehicle without anyone pushing you. Then we come to monthly groceries. Monthly groceries, each all in a family, just a sizable family, say you've got 3 kids, husband and wife living in the city. Your income combined, if you're married, La Pepe can pay the woman a trolley over 6,000 just for your groceries. Let's also factor in the time value of money. 20 cents at the time that we were growing up in Lungul. I was given 50 cents when going to school. We'll buy fat cakes. We'll buy ice block. We'll buy nicknames. Boboshiwe. Like that's a lot. But what can you buy with 50 cents today? So an average household will pay something like 6,000 rand on groceries a month. Multiply that by 12 and tell me what you get. Over 60,000 on groceries only. Let's go to utilities. I will break your utilities. Oh, God. I will break down your utilities to telephone. The phone that you are using, unfortunately, mine is there. Upadala, MTN, a contract here 1,000, maybe 500 for the gadget a month. And you also servicing, you've got a package that you are paying, say 2,000 rand on your phone. Plus or minus, average, in terms of the package. If it's airtime, let's say 8,000 rand. Then there is water. You will pay water for a fully fledged household, a 3-bedroom house of 1,000 rand. That's 2,000. Then there is the issue of electricity, 2,000 rand or plus. Your geyser is on from morning. Angikhuluma labacishe igeyser ekuseni bekunene. Bayivule ngihamba nga 5. No. Sithi igeyser ihlala ikahle, you are not going to pay less than 2,000 rand a month on your electricity. We are at 4,000, Lungul. Then your kids at this juncture and this age, they will need proximity and access, full access to uncapped Wi-Fi is nothing less than 1,000 from SPTC. 1,700. We are at, do the math, 5.7. Then your DSTV, your kids will kill you if you don't pay DSTV. I'm talking about your monthly charges. You'll pay 1,000 rand towards your DSTV. And somewhere you are sitting at 7,000 a month. You are sitting at 7,000. These are only utilities. Remember, you have bought groceries, you have paid for your car insurance on a monthly basis, and then now your utilities are somewhere around 8,000 on a monthly basis. Then the issue of fuel, I don't even want to talk about it. I spend about 8,000 a month on fuel. Yes. No, it's not a Bentley. It's a masterclass. I like it when you react like this. I like it when you react like this. Nobody has taken time to take cost, take account of how much you fuel in a month. Whether uyakagogo or uyemshadweni or kunelwembezo or kune party or yini lento yabosisi oh unkolele ndolo noma siyakasebenza mokulu I see. But the truth is, you are going to put in fuel in your vehicle and you will spend anyway. So when you look at your rates, there's a point I want to make. From a residential point of view, I don't have any rate payer that is paying rates for a household where you live that is above 18,000 for the whole year. No residential house within Baban is paying way over 18,000 rand rates per year. Divided by 12, what do we get? 1,500. So, akuphi la rates ladulile? Because the reason why I'm driving to this point, akuphi la rates ladulile? I like it that you're clapping hands, and these are the things that you do on a daily basis. Then you ask yourself, if you decide to neglect this, which is the cornerstone of all the discussions we've had in the house, where are you going to park this? Where are you going to put this? Where are you going to pay this? Where are you? The only impediment to the process is it's lack of knowledge. You can come to the municipality and say, I want to pay my rate in 12 months. I'm going to pay 1,500 a month until I'm done. And we will allow you to go on and enjoy your Range Rover, Minister, your banter at 25,000. You will enjoy the skyrocketing utilities because your grandchildren and your sons are not going to allow you not to pay for electricity. The DSTV, particularly the Wi-Fi uncapped. Nah, they won't allow you. They will tell you while you are right in the meeting, Babe PG, good dad, this Wi-Fi is now giving me issues. And now, what bundle of joy they are home. And they're busy depleting on that Wi-Fi and need to keep it uncapped. So, collectively, let's agree to each other. We lack understanding. And today, with this presentation, I just want us to appreciate that the rates are the lowest of all in our daily things that eat from our disposable income. Our daily expenses are higher than the rates. So it is high time that we actually make the right choice. Then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is exemption and the considerations for indigency. And please, do make your inputs, your valuable proposals and inputs on the review of the act that Margaret Queeneth and the minister has sent us to review or assist the ministry to review. So the Rating Act in its current form, I'm almost done, lists only these structures in the city that are exempt by law. A place of public worship, remember it is only the church. If you put in a pastor's house, the pastor's house is rateable. If you put in conference facilities next to the place of worship, the conference facilities are rateable. A school, university, college, all building facilities, grounds and everything, but the teachers' houses, in terms of law, are rateable. So the valuer, when showing these properties on a valuation roll, they need to demarcate, or rather make a distinction. This is the school that is used for schooling activities. Then the second one is the taxable portion of the facility. And the same will apply to hospital clinics, and then properties registered under Ingwenyama and Indlovukazi. The Act, as it stands now, they're all exempt. But, notwithstanding the above, Tim, there are special considerations that are made by the Municipal Council of Mbabane to people that are indigent living in the city. Once we talk indigent, we are speaking to the child-headed households, low-income households, and the elderly. Program Director, thank you.
Siyabonga mfundisi. Yeah, stawuvuma tono la. But thank you very much for that presentation. Ngihleti next to umuntu wetimali. She says kule schedule yonke leyo. The interesting thing is that lolokunye uyakudla uyakunatha kuyanyamalala. Lolokunye kuya depreciate, but lo mhlaba is the only thing that is going up in terms of investment. So if anything, it's really around the understanding of lama rates negokuthi tikhona leti indlela tekuthi wabhadale angakhami nje. And even if awukhama noma somsplitile over 12 months, literally sifanana nelibhange. Sithi ubota phela mase sikonetsi kuhlulu khulume nathi ungabe siyanyamalala. Because the collector of rates in terms of the law can come into arrangements with you as a ratepayer. Ninganyamalali hulumende wenu akafuni ukunibulala ngalama rates. They're not meant to kill you. So if you don't have, you have people that come and say, I think that struggling for the next 4 or 5 months. That's the kind of relationship that you should have. By actually, it's okay, I send this so. And it works. But thank you so much, Mtwombeni. I will not take questions, sorry, I meant to say I will not take questions to that presentation for now. Please allow me to call on our key speaker for the day. And thereafter, as I promised, we will then invite them to a panel where you can equally just ask questions. And then we can bring them in at that point. Honorable Minister, I'm taken back to 2023, so I'm reading your profile when Silalela Goguti, you have become Indvuna Yemadoloba. I remember the conversations we had with Bosi or Gunantlangano here, Gunangwenya Lapa. I remember the conversations we had. It was a moment of pride, Minister, for us, because we all literally said, and honestly, Minister, having served under you for the past couple of years in 2023, it's really been a journey in local government. Where, Minister, we are understanding the changes we are seeing in our societies and communities and the challenge that is sitting on local government. The challenge is changing every year because the very same children you are thinking about, and the dynamics in your own household and how it has changed. Imagine that at a bigger municipal scale. So just think about your own kids and how they interact with you, they consume services like haya. Now babita nga WhatsApp, so ne WhatsApp group yandodla. You see those dynamics, the ones that are playing in your own home. Lolo mfana lo tsima uthi kuye ngithamba yolala athi why? Wathi ngistambola thina bekude why? Bombona nje akubuka kanye. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, mommy. Chill, girl, yolala. But the same children that you have are now gainful members of the society that inform what we do. They are the consumers of services. So nathi singmasipala sakho nje ukuthi sesibhekele uva why? Simangalo why ubuya manje? Why are you saying why? I'm saying you. Why are you saying why? But that's a society that we are now being charged to govern. And therefore, the masterclass, when we shared it with the minister, he said, we need to do more of these because the more we open up and have these dialogues in a society that likes to be informed. But the minute you say because, and people understand it, they move better with you. Indvuna Yethu is a seasoned local government practitioner, over 20 years in local government. Woo. Indvuna yaqala speaking, nangqala nami I was 23, Minister, you possibly were 24. I wasn't staying. The minister started in Peak. When I moved to Matapa, the minister was in Peak a bit, and then he moved to Nhlangano. And then from Nhlangano, Indvuna, yabuye Malkens. Yo, what a very long journey, Minister, you've had. And this builds onto the knowledge you have on local government, generally on leadership and governance, and playing in the public space. His career includes serving in the towns I've mentioned. He's been chairperson of many forums. He's even served in multinational entities and even NGOs, international ones as well. With advanced qualifications in public administration, leadership and change management, and decentralization, he champions sustainable urban development. He's overseeing green initiatives in cities, youth-led projects, driving programs towards fulfilling the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Vuna Nkosi, umhlonishwa wasekukhanyeni enkundleni, can I please steal the privilege from my PS? He said that I could do the privilege, or no? Thank you, kind sir. So normally thina bantu abakethi siphethwe siyati ukuthi indvuna ayithulwa nje nanginoma bani. Ithulwa ngulomunye lokhonjwe esidladla longanga PS bakulawo levels, but namuhla hawu Jesu muhle. Ngithula indvuna yami ngalamagunya lenginikwe wona. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to rise as we introduce and welcome the Honorable Minister for Housing and Honor and Development.
Thank you. Umuntu akathathele lithuba kuvusela program director who has had the rare privilege of performing functions that are traditionally, above her pay grade. That we appreciate that. That's what we are doing in local government. We are grooming people. Some of them are becoming introducers of ministers before their time comes. But that's appreciated. So, umuntu akaqala ngivusela umhlonishwa wasembabane East umlangeni ngakudokotela HRH kushiwo njalo dokotela Nozizwe Mlela siphinde sivusele kulosamele meya nyalo ngoba meya ubese uyahamba sivusele PS ma councillors onke ala mbabane nema resource persons ethu Mr. Malichi, Mr. Makakula, nawe ungene category yema resource persons. So siyabonga kakhulu. Bengicabanga lo solo sleti lapha lokuthi why did God promised Abraham, Isaac and Jacob land? He did not promise them wealth. He did not promise them good governance. He did not promise them, any other thing that you can think of, but he promised them land. That's how essential this thing we call land is. For those that are friends of God, Abraham was regarded as a friend of God. So God promised him land. So those that are friends of God and you still don't have land, you may want to touch base with your God. He can give you land. That is what he promises. And for those of you that believe that we are going to heaven, heaven is all about property. Streets said to be of gold, mansions, plenty of them. There's no insurance in heaven, and there's no Bentley, there's no Range Rover, but heaven is property. So if you want to start enjoying heaven on earth, invest in property. And if you miss that, whatever other accumulations you may have, you have not started enjoying heaven, because heaven is property. So probably let us applaud the Municipal Council of Mbabane for organizing these masterclasses. Lento lehle isho abafundisi nasebafuna ku iminikelo makakula leyo ukuthi my people, perish because of lack of knowledge is very true. Sometimes we get into, bowls of soup that we are not supposed to be, getting into, but specifically because we don't have the appropriate information. So siyabonga ke lokuthi i-Municipal Council of Mbabane initiate logo. And I'm happy that Mr. Malichi, you'll recall, a couple of years ago, you were called into a meeting in Tlangano. The mood was different. It was after we had conducted a property valuation exercise, that 5-year, routines that Mr. Makakula was talking about. And then people were extremely angry. And councillors decided to ditch me at that time as the CEO. They said, no, let's call all the ratepayers, the property owners, into some hall. And we went. The collector of rates as well, went under. So it was myself, angry residents, and Mr. Malichi as the resource person. We got into that meeting. He eventually did not say much because I needed to manage that whole, group of angry property owners. But after we had had conversations with the angry property owners, Umfundisi Jetro Malinzisa, he was in the room. He came to say, you had to be the one saying what you said. Wosukela po ahamba so ngasala nala statement le so lengasathi ukuthi sasisho kuthini. But people can really be angry if you tamper with the property prices. And in a majority of cases, we seem to confuse the valuation exercise that will assign value to your property and property taxation. If we don't separate those two things, in fact, kwayona lenza balena lebe topic lenkulu nyalo le in fact topic na nyalo honorable MP niseta uhlangana nayo say parliament because we are doing review of the Rating Act. It will eventually land on the laps of the honorable house. But in that debate, let's see, for purposes of rating, should we be using market value of the property, or should we look for some other value upon which we are going to calculate property taxation? And unfortunately, is fananele. Even if we were to take the route, rating, property valuation mechanism for purposes of calculating property taxation. But utawuthola ukuthi ema rates ngoba sibonile lokuthi purpose yawo yini. If lama rates asangasekho, so the values of the properties are going to go down nonetheless. And if they do, kusho ukuthi le percentage besithi siyayiba. So let's open another modality, the differential rating, where the municipality is going to be allowed ukuthi ayisebenzise lenye indlela yokuraiser okulevisha ema rates ngekungafanani kwema land uses. That's how we then, almost all the municipalities are using the differential rating methodology. But ke sekuchaziwe lokuthi asisudibalekela letinto leto so usidemonstrate mamba ukuthi it's not, Makakula, it's not as expensive as we think it is. But sometimes, ngesikhathi le information ingekho, we then tend to be throwing all sorts of stones, even from people that you wouldn't anticipate ukuthi nabo bangawajike manje, because they are supposed to have information. Yeah, so I'm holding back statements that are in me. Ngicabanga ukuthi ake ngiwabambe lama statements lawa ngoba they may not add value to the discussions. But I think we really appreciate lama engagements akahle. Anyone who wants to contribute in any local government, even if you come from a negative standpoint, but come to the fore. So that is stop khuluma lento until you decide. Ngoba khona abanye lokwenza ukuthi sitakule imhlangano lo baphethe manje. But as we talk about this, we much without so sesingakhona ukuthi siqhube because we have engaged and people are appreciating what we are doing. And local government emhlonishwa thina nawe singacishe sifakazelana. It's easier to serve in the national parliament. The interests are so varied and wide at parliament. But siyephuta kubona ukuthi impact yalesikwendako as parliament. Because it takes time for umthetho loshayiwe, to run its full cycle. Around 2021, I had a discussion na lomnye manje wasenhlangano. We are convicting not less than 5 men per week under sort of. But it's sort of by year 20, that is one station, lenhlangano. And because it's sort of my sentences are manengi a custodial. It's custodial sentences. Wakanga nje under sort of chances of you, being in-house. My correctional facilities are very high. So he was saying, Lomthetho 20, I think it's sort of 2017 or 2018. But bekacala kubona yena, she was chairing the valuation court yasenhlangano. It was on the sides of that thing. So abecala kubona lokho ukuthi kungena bo bantu besilisa labaningi lese babadzala labanye bangena uthi at the time, like I am saying, it was around 5 people per week getting into correctional facilities. And bese kungilapho wena yacala ukuthi because we're having this discussion, there was hey, lomthetho lona ngabe kuyawuphela maybe because le curve yekuthena kwe behavior yebantu will take time. Kusho ukuthi emajele asetawugcwala. But it was after around 4 or 5 years later. But change a bylaw in a municipality. Ushinje nje toilet uthi ayisesi 2 emalangeni saying 2 emalangeni 50 cents. I tell you ngeke lishone. Because local government ayifani nekusebenza kwa central government. Central government